Good day, everyone! Welcome again to my channel. I'm Quilinguen, Bachelor of Elementary Education, 4th year. For today's video, I'm going to tackle about 3 topics, which are the tips for effective and engaged delivery, taboos in speech delivery, stage fright, and how to overcome it. So listeners, have you tried to have a speech delivery? Do you find it difficult to do? Or did you feel fear being in front of the people? Well, in this video, here are some tips for you to be effective speaker, know what to avoid in speaking, and how to conquer your stage fright. Before we proceed, let us define what is speech delivery. In the context of public speaking, delivery refers to the presentation of the speech you have researched, organized, outlined, and practiced. Delivery is important, of course, because it is what is most immediate to the audience. Now for the first topic, 7.11 Tips for Effective and Engaged Delivery. First tip is, write it out. Create an outline of your speech to organize the content. Even if it's going to be a quick 1 or 2 minute speech, writing a focus for the beginning, middle, and ending can help you hone on key ideas you want to convey. If you can write out the whole speech, do it. Just like when Susan Cain wrote that, speech preparation is especially helpful for introverts since you'll gain a better understanding of how you'll come across, which can increase your confidence. For the second tip is practice. Practice goes hand in hand with the first tip. How your speech comes across out loud compared to how it reads in your head can be very different. Practice in front of a mirror and in front of a friend if possible. If you need to memorize your speech, break it down into chunks and work on memorizing one part at a time. Practicing a speech enables you to work out spacing and pauses for optimal impact. Make sure you're able to clearly and confidently pronounce your speech. Feel more comfortable with the message you're delivering. Third tip is record yourself. You might be amazed at what you discover when watching yourself practice your speech. Set up your video camera on your phone and record yourself as you practice giving your speech. Then, review it to make sure your pacing, eye contact, and physical movements match the tone of your speech and display confidence. The fourth tip is present yourself confidently. While you can't necessarily control every detail of a speech, you can control how you look. Dress in comfortable clothes that make you feel good about yourself. This helps you feel confident. Tip 5. Check your posture. If you are standing, place your feet several inches to shoulder width apart, distributing your weight evenly. In this position, you should feel grounded and secure. If sitting, plant your feet on the floor and sit up tall from your rib cage. From this position, you look confident and can project your voice with more authority. 6. Neutralize your hands. Start with your hands, relax and at your sides, and you'll be more likely to gesture. If you put your hands in your pockets, clasp them behind your back, or lock them into a fig leaf position, chances are you will not use them effectively. Instead of holding back your gestures, let them go a bit. You will look more engaged and engaging. 7. Improve your voice. To get more volume and better enunciation, try opening your mouth a little bit wider. Check for tension or tightness in your face and release it. Try relaxing your jaw by massaging gently right in front of your ears. Be sure to keep breathing, preferably before you speak and during pauses. 8. Engage with your eyes. You might be compelled to look at your slides or papers in front of you or over the heads of your audience. You might stare at the top-ranking audience member or the one friendly face in the room. Instead, try to keep your eye contact moving slowly around the room, one person at a time, including everyone equally. Ninth, relax your face. Check a mirror to see if your face looks tight or tense. Look for tension in your eyebrows, forehead, between your eyes, and around your mouth. If you see tension, try to relax your face into a more neutral expression. Soften your eyes, smile. Smiling can also make the audience more receptive to you. You should start to be more aware of your delivery skills to make good choices and to build new habits. And smile is one of it. 10th, prepare for the worst. Imagining the worst case scenario that could happen during your speech, also known as inoculation training, could help calm you down. This inoculation training, think about the worst that could possibly happen and then think about your best possible response. Doing this has the effect of minimizing fear, which can increase your poise, calm speech time. 11th, tour the space beforehand. Don't let a surprising venue layout derail your speech. A setup involving a podium or lack of one, platform or stage may seem new and jarring if it's drastically different from where you practice. Before a speech, walk around the venue if you can. 12. Get the audience invested. If you want to keep your audience hanging on every word, get them involved from the beginning. The public speaking organization, Toastmasters International, recommends introducing your speech in a way that makes the audience immediately relate to it. Some ways to do this include posing a question for the audience to think about, telling a story that captures their attention, and giving a preview of what the audience will learn. 13. 13 tips. Leave a takeaway. Make your speech more impactful by leaving the audience with something to think about or a possible action to take. This reinforces the content you've represented and creates a connection with audience members as they continue to reflect on your speech. 14th, prepare well. The best, most consistent, and direct way to minimize the level of nervousness you feel is through effective preparation. This is always true. Importantly, the best sort of practice is the kind that prepares you properly. 15th tip, visualize success. Visualize success. Imagine yourself moving gracefully, complementing what you say with expressive gestures. Imagine the audience reacting appropriately. Imagine the gratification of watching the audience really get it. When you can honestly envision yourself performing at this level, you are taking an important step toward achieving your goal. 16th, ask for feedback. Get better at public speaking by asking your audience for feedback. Depending on the setting, this can be done formally, such as quick email survey at work, or informally by asking people you trust what they thought of your speech. Sometimes, just knowing what makes a good speech can help you feel more confident. Focus on some of the following elements and practice them before you have to speak in public. Tips for speaking. Develop your own style. Work on developing your own personal style as a public speaker. Telling personal stories that tie into your theme are a great way to let other students get to know you better. Next is avoid filler words. Words such as basically, well, and Don't add anything to your speech. Practice being silent when you feel the urge to use one of these words. Next is vary your tone, volume, and speed. Interesting speakers vary the pitch, high versus low, volume, loud versus soft, and speed, fast versus slow, of their words. Doing so keeps your audience interested and engaged in what you say. Then, make the audience laugh. Telling jokes can be a great icebreaker at the beginning of a speech. Practice the timing and delivery of your jokes. Be sure that they are appropriate for your audience before you begin. Next is smile. If all else fails, smile. Your audience will perceive you like a warm speaker and be more receptive to what you have to say. Lastly, don't apologize. If you make a mistake, don't offer apologies. Chances are that your audience didn't notice anyway, unless you need to correct a fact or figure. There is no point dwelling on errors that probably only you notice. Now let's proceed to the next topic, which is 7.12 taboos in speech delivery. The first taboo is neglecting to prepare. To avoid this, all you have to do is set aside time before your presentation, speech, and etc. to ensure you've worked out all the kinks. Here are a few tips to help you prepare. Consider your audience. Think about your audience and tailor your message to them and their specific needs. Next is organize your presentation. Make sure your presentation flows in a logical and engaging way so that your audience can easily follow along. Lastly is practice, practice, practice. Practice your presentation numerous times before you deliver it. If you can, consider recording yourself so that you can see how you appear to your audience. Second is using filler words. Filler words are a public speaker's arch nemesis. You know what we're talking about, the the and that plague most inexperienced speakers. These words and others like them will only serve to make you look unprepared and unprofessional during your presentation and also lower your audience's confidence in the information you deliver. Third is talking too fast. We get pretty nervous whenever we have to deliver a presentation in front of an audience. This leads to another common public speaking mistake, talking too fast. One way to keep yourself from rushing through your content is to practice your presentation at the proper speed. Then, take deep breaths during your speech to calm your nerves and keep them in check. Fourth, talking too softly. Talking too fast is definitely a public speaking mistake you want to avoid, and so is talking too softly, especially if a microphone isn't available for you to use. Your audience won't be able to internalize the wisdom you share if they can't hear you what you're saying. So, make sure you speak loudly, enunciate well, and avoid mumbling at all costs. This will ensure your message is understood. Fifth is forgetting to make eye contact. If public speaking makes you nervous, the thought of making eye contact with your audience while you deliver your presentation probably makes you break out in a cold sweat. But eye contact is essential because if you don't take the time to look at your audience in the eyes, you'll come to across as insincere, detached, and arrogant. 6. Using distracting mannerisms. Many speakers distract their audience with mannerisms such as clenching or wringing hands, pacing back and forth, gripping the podium, adjusting hair or clothing, touching the face. If you do any of these things on stage, your audience will have a hard time concentrating and your presentation will be much less effective than it could be. Seventh, having low energy. Pumping up the energy can be beneficial during your presentation. So having low energy, you should try to avoid. To improve your energy levels, remember to speak with passion, enjoy the moment, smile, and make other positive facial expressions and move about the stage in a natural way. Eighth, misusing visual aids. The best speakers use visual aids. To use visual aids effectively, you must keep things this To use visual aids effectively, you must keep these things in mind. Don't overload on text. Don't skimp on design. Don't rely on visuals. Because visual aids can make a good speech absolutely amazing and memorable. But you have to use them correctly. Ninth, sharing too much information. This is common public speaking mistake. This will only serve to overwhelm your audience. Instead, by doing so, think about the few things you absolutely need them to know by the end of your presentation. Then, focus your speech on just these things. 10th, overshooting your time. If your boss gives you 15 minutes to present your new idea, stick to 15 minutes. If an industry conference asks you to deliver a 45-minute keynote, make sure your speech doesn't exceed your time limit. Overshooting your time will hardly keep your audience engaged. Thus, you should know the time allotted to you, then craft content to fit. 11th, not tailoring your message to your audience. Remember, it is important to know your audience. Just like from the statement, if you don't talk to your audience about themselves, they most likely won't listen. Thus, to avoid this, ask yourself, who is my audience? What are their burning issues? How does my message help them? How much do they know about my topic? What will I ask them to do in response to my message? So those are the questions. For the 12, non-inspiring. With your words, actions, and visuals, seek first to inspire an emotion in them, just like surprise, joy, hope, excitement, love, empathy, vulnerability, sadness, fear, envy, and guilt. If your delivery is not inspiring, the audience tend to not listen and even can't relate to what the speech you deliver. 13th, lack of pauses. Many speakers have the habit of rushing through their content. To avoid this, you need to consciously use silence as a rhetorical device. You'll come across as more self-confident. Your message will be more impactful and your audience will remember more of what you say. 14th, not crafting a powerful opening. According to Plato, the beginning is the most important part of the work. Yet, it's a common bad habit for speakers to waste those precious opening seconds rambling pointlessly. Remember, your message, and your audience deserve much more. So, open with a bang. Invest the thought, time, and effort to craft and memorize the most important part of the work. 15th, and lastly, ending with Q&A. You should avoid the bad habit of closing on question and answer. Instead, your grand finale is your last chance to reinforce your key points. Therefore, ensure the memorability of your message and motivate the audience to action. Now, let's proceed to the last topic. 7.13, Stage Fright and How to Overcome. Public speaking is said to be the biggest fear reported by many American adults, topping flying, financial ruin, sickness, and even death. You may have heard the joke that some people would prefer to be in their own coffins than give a eulogy at a funeral. Well, this may be an exaggeration, but many would agree. The fear of public speaking or performance, often called stage fright, exacts a huge toll on self-confidence and self-esteem and causes some people to leave school or a job or pass up a promotion. Taking steps to overcome your fear. It's often helpful to uncover the deeper fears related to being seen and heard by others, showing vulnerability, and being considered less than perfect. Learning to accept yourself and not feeling that you have to prove yourself to others is at the root of healing. Now, here's the tips to overcome your stage fright. First, get your head in the right place. Speech anxiety is unpleasant enough that you may focus on how awful you're feeling instead of what really matters: the response of your audience. This ain't about you, but yourself. Put yourself in their shoes and think about what they're hoping to get out of this presentation. You'll be on the right wavelength, which is that of your audience. Second, belly breath. Modern life with all its gadgets and digital assistants makes it easy for you to become a talking head, which includes breathing shallowly and rapidly. Fight or flight response to social anxiety exacerbates this type of respiration cycle. To counter these habits, learn to breathe diaphragmatically. This will help you to have a resonant voice, but it will also calm you and slow your heart rate. Third, turn that negative talk into positive thinking. The longer you stay in negative territory concerning your response to public speaking, the more it will seem like home. Turn your self-destructive statements around by flipping that negative mindset. Create a positive groove you can stay in. Fourth, stand straight and open up your chest. Body language matters in terms of how confident you look. Try this. Hunch your shoulders slightly. Now stand straight, allowing your chest area to come forward as your shoulders drop into their natural position. You certainly will look more professional. Fifth, let go of intrusive thoughts. Focus is one of your most important tools which it comes to reaching and engaging audiences. But you're human, which means off-the-grid thoughts will intrude when you don't want them to. Learn not to engage these thoughts or resist them. Instead, notice them. Then, let them float away. Come back to your message and its reception. Here's how to stay focused. 6. Greet your audience and smile. Here's how to start strong by giving your audience a greeting they'll remember. Invest yourself in this moment, letting listeners know that you really enjoy being there. 7th, talk, don't present. Your need to calm your nerves come from the thought that you're there to give a speech, but you'll really just be talking to some people. Like for example, when Edward Everett was the at the time famous orator who delivered a 2 hours address at Gettysburg in 1863. But we remember the other guy, the one who gave the 2-minute speech known as the Gettysburg Address. Since then, speeches, public and private, have been getting more conversational. 8th, visualize a successful outcome. Help yourself create a successful presentation. This just makes sense because the more time and effort you spend anticipating positive outcomes, the better prepared you'll be to respond the way in the real situation. Ninth, turn the spotlight around. This too is a visualization technique. Speaking in public can feel like standing alone in a hot, bright spotlight. There, every move you make can add to the feeling that you're naked and vulnerable. So, in your mind, turn the spotlight around. This will help you feel you illuminate your listeners. 10th, move. Move is body language for powerful public speaking. Like, for example, did you ever feel like you're in a pressure cooker when speaking to a group? Need to know how to think on your feet when speaking under pressure? With speaking nerves comes the release of stress hormones that are telling you to fight the threat or get away fast. Therefore, move. Because if you stand stuck still, the pressure will just build. I have also some other tips to overcome stage fright. Shift the focus from yourself and your fear to your true purpose, contributing something or value to your audience. Next, stop scaring yourself with thoughts about what might go wrong. Instead, focus your attention on thoughts and images that are calming and reassuring. Next, refuse to think thoughts that create self-doubt and low confidence. Next, practice ways to calm and relax your mind and body, such as deep breathing, relaxation exercises, yoga, and meditation. Next is exercise. Eat well and practice other healthful lifestyle habits. Try to limit caffeine, sugar, and alcohol as much as possible. Next, visualize your success. Always focus on your strength and ability to handle challenging situations. Then, prepare your material in advance and read it aloud to hear your voice. Make also connections with your audience. Smile and greet people, thinking of them as friends rather than enemies. Then, stand or sit in a self-assured, confident posture. Remain warm and open and make eye contact. And lastly, give up trying to be perfect and know that it's okay. It is okay to make mistakes. Be natural, be yourself. That's all for this video, and I hope you learn now on how to overcome your stage fright and can deliver your speech effectively and engaging.